a coincidence? Or was there some kind of primal intuitiveness that made him aware of how severe his illness was? A single tear slipped down my cheek. I don't know, baby. Before my son was put under, he cried and made it clear that he wanted me in the room while the surgery was performed. I want you with me, he'd said. He lay there on the operating table, unconscious. The surgeon and his helpers were shuffling about, preparing for the incision of the cancerous bulbs hanging between my son's legs. I stood in the corner of the cold operation room wearing a medical apron, rubber gloves, face mask, and a pair of goggles. I was looking at my feet, waiting for the inevitable. Would he be a freak to his peers? An outcast to society? Would he ever find someone to love him? These strange, unwanted thoughts floated in my mind like a rocket on a predetermined trajectory through the star systems of the cosmos. They told me not to watch if I didn't want to. I wasn't, but once I heard the scalpel cut through flesh, there was this sound. A wriggling sound. A sloppy, greasy, writhing sound. The bodies of the medical professionals surrounded my son so I was unable to see him. I stood on my toes but I still wasn't tall enough to see. Oh my God, a nurse said. Wet slapping sounds came. Something was dropping on the room's floor. Blood? The doctor and nurses stood back. One nurse yipped and dropped a stainless steel tool she had been holding. She ran out of the room, the door swinging behind her. The sound of wet drip still came. I looked at the surgeon's feet. Something was wiggling on the floor. Snakes? No, too small for that. Centipede? No, they didn't have legs. As the surgeon and the remaining nurse moved away from the table, I was able to see everything. They were cracked open like eggs. Wet goo and slime from a world far beyond the comprehension of the human imagination spewed out from between my baby's legs. My son's genitals had a nest of worms inside of them. They writhed and squirmed and moved and slopped over the table, down to the floor, and over the shoes of the surgeon and nurse. I fainted and cracked my head on the tile floor. I was removed from the room and woke up in a chair located in the large waiting area. I remember squinting because the chair I was sitting in faced the windows where the sunset was. A nurse walked over to me. My son, I bolted straight up. Where's my son? Those things. Is he all right? He lost some blood but the procedure is over. You can see him in a few hours. I talked to the surgeon about what happened at the operation table. The only answer I got regarding what was inside of my son was, we're not completely sure what they are or what species of parasitic organisms they belong to. We've run some tests to see if he still had any left inside but we're not sure if he's clean. We'll have to put him on mebendazole. It's the best we can do for now. And that was it. The men in the black suits showed up to interview me, my son, the surgeon, and both nurses. It's been 2 months since the operation. My son had to stay in a rehabilitation center for about a month and a half, which wasn't fun for either of us. I'm now on anxiety medication. It started the day after I took my son home for the first time in a while. I just lay awake at night worrying about him. Every 5 minutes, I would get out of bed and go into his room to check on him. I wouldn't get any sleep and I had to spend time away from work. Things have been hard lately because of it. Child support is next to nothing, no thanks to my ex-husband. At least it seems like the medication is working, so now I'm able to sleep. They sent my son home with a clean bill of health minus 2 genitals or so they thought. I'm sitting in a waiting room once again. Yesterday, while eating a bowl of cereal and watching the Idiot Box, my son stepped out of his bedroom and shuffled into the kitchen. He said 4 words. Mommy, my eyes hurt.